Hello everyone, my name is Ibrahim Salami and I'm the founder of Data Starter NG. So a little bit about me. I currently work as a systems analyst, and in my free time I keep building myself and learning data analytics. I've been learning data analytics for 3 years now, and I don't think I can consider myself as an expert yet, but I'm getting there. And occasionally I write on Medium and towards data science about sharing what I learn in data analytics, machine learning, and AI. So why did I start Data Starter NG? Uh, I'm gonna share like a little bit of a story here. When I started learning data analytics, just like a lot of people, I started with SQL, Power BI, Python, but the thing is, I fell into like a trap, and this is like a trap that many people fall into. The thing is, data analytics is not the same as software development or software engineering. The end result for software engineering is that they ship the tools that they build for people to use. But the end result for us data people is overall is to help businesses or stakeholders to make decisions, right? And businesses don't care about the dashboards that you built. They don't care about the data cleaning that you did. They don't care about the advanced Python code that you wrote, you know. And I always like to say this, that anyone can be a data analyst, even if you know Excel. It doesn't matter what process you went through to gather your insights. What the stakeholders actually care about is what insights did you get? Is it actionable? And what recommendations are you providing? So in many cases, you're probably going to have to like present and communicate your insights. So which is why I started this Data Starter NG. Our overall mission is to lead like a new standard for data talent in Nigeria and Africa. So how we do this is we develop like business simulations that pressure test junior analysts on dirty data and strategic logic. So in this video, I want to just share with you a little bit just to clarify a lot of things. So I want to share with you, here's the brief that you've probably received. So it might seem confusing, but that's why I want to try to record this video to break things down a little bit. So the brief is, we're using like the oldest data set, and the reason why I picked this is that it covers like a problem that many businesses face, which is revenue loss. This is something that any business, it doesn't matter which industry, healthcare, supply chain, finance, it doesn't matter. Every business faces like some kind of revenue issue in some form. So that's why I picked this data set. And this is mostly focused on the e-commerce industry. So it uses like a real life Brazilian e-commerce store made at the oldest store. So this is what the brief is based off of, you know. And here's like all the tables in this data set. So, and as I read the brief, you realize that you don't really need all these tables, to answer the questions that we need, you know. And to make things easier for you guys, we're probably going to like get rid of the tables you don't need and only leave those that help you generate the insights, so it won't feel too overwhelming for you guys. So and the tool that you can use any tool you want to generate the insights, but for this demonstration I'm going to be using Power BI. Why am I using Power BI? Because one, it's simple to use. It's my favorite business intelligence or data visualization tool. And not only that, it can handle like huge data sets, unlike Excel. So that's why I'm going to be using Power BI. So by the end of this video, in this video, I'm going to show you how you can import the data set and how you can connect the tables together. So first, before I do that, I want to like get through the brief. So here's like the mission. So here's like a fictional company name that we managed to come up with, Zest Markets Africa. So they recently acquired like a major e-commerce subsidiary in the LATAM region. And by LATAM, I mean like Latin American region, right? So which is like the oldest data set. So as they prepare to integrate their operations, the board of directors has flagged a major concern. So while they manage to process like 100,000 orders, they realize that the profit margins are thinning, and the logistics cost are like fluctuating. So before they scale this company or this model into like West African hubs, so they need to know the current operations, like what's currently going on. How are we doing currently? For example, what revenue are we generating? What profits are we generating? So we want to know how are we currently doing, and we also want to know what are we missing out from. That's exactly what we call gap analysis. So by that we want to know where exactly are we supposed to be, and are we currently meeting that? If we're not currently meeting that, like what are some recommendations you can provide for us to get there? So that's the overall goal. That's the overall goal of this. It's not that hard. So this is your objective. So you're acting as a strategic consultant. So your goal is to identify the smoking gun. And by the smoking gun, I mean that what exactly is causing this revenue leak, and propose a 3-month recovery roadmap. So here are some, to break things down much more, here are some questions that we need you to answer. So we want to know revenue versus logistics. So by that, we want to know, do you think it's like the logistics that's causing the revenue loss? Are we losing margins to freight cost? And by freight, we mean that the cost of goods that are being shipped. Is this making us lose revenue? And which regions are the most expensive to serve? We also want to know the delivery gap. So how does delivery time impact customer satisfaction and review scores? And lastly, we want to know the so what, based on everything that you've gathered. It's all cool and all, but what are some actionable moves that the CEO can authorize on like a Monday morning? So that's pretty much all we want to know. And here's like the delivery standard. And by the delivery standard, we would love you to provide to present like to deliver in like a slide. It can be a PowerPoint slide. You can use any tool to do your analysis. You can use Python, SQL, Power BI, Tableau, but the deliverable has to be like a slide deck. Why did we choose like a slide deck? Because this is exactly what you're going to be working on in, in a real company. In most cases, they're going to like expect you to like uh, they are used to like presentations. That's what like a real, at least big company is used to. So if you can create like it doesn't have to be like a fancy slide. We're probably going to like include like a slide template in what we're going to send out, so you can use that as inspiration. So for example, if you manage to like create like a dashboard from Power BI, the thing is we're not going to need all the visuals on the dashboard. You can just screenshot like the most important insight or visual and put that in that presentation. So, and in that slides, we don't need more than 5 slides, you know. And for slide one is just going to share how we are currently doing. What revenue are we generating? What profits are we generating? What is the leakage value? And by that I mean that, you know, uh, how are we losing out? You can create like a KPI visual, for that one to show where exactly we want to get into, the revenue we're trying to get into, and what we have currently achieved, So you could include that in slide one. Slide two is the revenue gap. And by the revenue gap, that is just the data backed visualization of the core problem. This is kind of like the most important slide. because what's going to show the problem that we're currently dealing with, which is we're losing out on revenue, you know. And by slide 3, strategic framing. This is like the SWOT and gap analysis. And by SWOT, this means strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You probably don't need all of this. Mostly, what you can do is that you can just pick like the S, the strength, which is um, what are we winning at, perhaps, for example, maybe revenue is much better than last year, so that can count as a strength. And by threat also, you can just it's optional, but if you want, you can just include like an ideal number that we want to get to, and if we're currently meeting that, so that can count as a threat. And gap analysis, I've already explained that, which is where we're trying to get to and where we are currently at. So that middle portion, that is the gap. And I feel like this is like the most important one. You can include this and just, this is optional. You can include it if you want, but this is the most important. This is what we want to see. And slide 4, this is like the root cause. So this shows like a deep dive into the specific leak. This is also like a really important because now that we know the problem, right? Which is we have a leakage, right? So slide 4 will just show us like here's what is causing the leakage. Maybe the transportation cost is too expensive, or we are offering too much discount. You know what I mean? And slide 5, the last slide, is the roadmap. This is where you're going to provide some recommendations for us, some clear, actionable recommendations. And yeah, this one too, this is like optional. You can create like an extra section or notebook containing the process you took to achieve this analysis, your dirty work. For example, maybe you wrote SQL queries or Python cleaning scripts. So whatever it is. So this is used if like one of us asks you for like a technical proof. And lastly, this is how you're going to be judged. So you're going to be graded by me and one other person, by me and the panel, on a scale of 1 to 5. You know, and here are the factors that we are considering. So here's what we're going to use to grade you: the strategic alignment. So which is why, and this just means that how you how much you understood the problem. you know. So this is like the correct use of SWOT and gap frameworks that, like we mentioned earlier, and the technical rigor. This is how you handle the complex nine table, whatever technical work you went through. So we're going to like grade you through that as well. The narrative and storytelling. So which is why this just means that can a CEO easily understand what's going on in your slide in like the first 1 minute, you know, without having to scroll around or get confused. So it's as simple as that. And actionability, are your recommendations realistic for a CEO to execute? So these 4 things are what we're going to grade you on. So you get like 5 points each for all of this. So 20 points total. So, and data notes. And this is just extra just to show you that data is in Brazilian real currency. So nothing too crazy. And messiness, this is also a real world data with 100K records across 9 tables. So data cleaning is like 50% of the job, you know. So it shouldn't take you long to generate the insights, once the data cleaning is done. So here's just like an extra message from me. So what we care about is like your answers, not the tools you used. So you can use your dashboard or whatever process you want to use to find the truth. But what we care about, the end results, the deliverable, is the slides. That's what we mostly care about. So yeah, that's what I wanted to introduce to you in this video. In the next video, I'm going to share with you how you can import this data into Power BI and connect the tables together. So that's what the next video is going to be all about. So I hope this was helpful to you guys. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.